What up, y'all? Welcome to the Willamette Block Party, where we highlight all things Black within the Willamette Valley. In this episode, we got a chance to interview Jasmine Kelly-Field, who is an entrepreneur, has found ways to build community through accounting, and has shared her experience of growing up Hasidic Jewish and Baptist, and how that's shaped the way that she sees the world and community. Plus, you're going to get some phenomenal tips about financial literacy, the importance of educating ourselves and building our own within the community. I would love for you all to drop a comment, like, and subscribe to the Willamette Block Party YouTube channel, as well as follow us on social media at Willamette Block Party on all social media platforms. And if you're an audio listener and want to listen to this podcast while you hitting the road, be sure to follow us on your favorite podcasting app too. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this episode with Jasmine Kelly-Field. We're supposed to share the roles and responsibilities of how we do the podcast.
He will never edit it in my favor. He's always gonna edit it in a way I get embarrassed.
We do need to talk our
Love
co-host.
you, X. We miss you. We wish you were here. Sorry, X, and wait. Do you have to do the hand signals and everything that he does?
Okay. All right.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Willamette Block Party. This is our third episode. So we are making it and doing it. And we have our second official guest, Ray, if you want to introduce the lovely Jasmine.
Yes. Shout out to y'all. This is Ray White. Happy to have here interviewing Jasmine Kelly-Field, who is an accountant by day, a gamer by night, and also can take care of your lawn too. But we're going to talk about all those things in between, as well as get to know Jasmine and her work within the Willamette Valley, and hear a bit of her story and how she shows up in the world, and learn some wisdom too, because there's some things I've learned. I got some questions for you about my lawn, but we're not going to get to that point. But we do want to make sure, as Ali alluded to, shout out our third co-host, xinyourface.com, aka Lil Splint, which he put himself out there, by the way, so you can check his Instagram stories on that. But Little Splint,
yes,
we wish you were here. To that end, Jasmine, welcome to the block party.
Hello.
If you were to describe yourself in one word, what would that be?
I would say eccentric.
Yeah.
Now you gotta elaborate.
The reason why I would say eccentric is because, well, I've been in a variation of spaces, and I've made it a goal to be a chameleon of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's allowed me to adapt, and with adaptation comes strength. And so I think that's the best way to describe myself, not scared of adversity and challenges. I feel like they drive me, and it's what makes me a little bit different because of those experiences simply just being of their own.
Yeah. I love that. That's a good question, Ray. That was a good start off, right?
Yeah, that was.
That's good.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Jasmine, though. So are you originally from Oregon?
No. So born and raised New York, Queens, lived there for 20 years. I had a very interesting upbringing. I was raised Hasidic Jewish, but then I was also raised to be Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience is of two worlds.
Yeah.
I grew up in a Hasidic Jewish community. And the school that I went to was very huge, very diverse. The high school that I went to, about 5,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the school, I want to say, was of the Jewish community, and then the other half was everybody else you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was in diversity or economic status, it was just diverse. With my upbringing, my grandmother was a person of community. She was a person who believed in giving knowledge freely, and believed in just nurturing everyone that was around her. And so I feel like that kind of shaped me to the person I am today.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, so for example, the community I grew up in, it's visually just different. You'll look across the street and it's You know, you have $1 million houses, everything's kosher. Saturdays, everyone's walking. And then you have one side of the community where it's completely impoverished. You have Black people, Hispanic people, Italian people, Irish people living amongst each other. And just rich with so much different. Like I can't even really explain. It's something that you just have to experience and just witness. It kind of really made, I feel like, made me humble in the sense of realizing that, like, I'm not the main character. We all are our own main characters living and experiencing. That's one thing I have to say. My grandmother was really good at teaching me. Just like seeing other people, the people that, you know, most people would just walk past and not acknowledge, not try to help. So my grandmother was a nurse. I come from a family who were either in the police or who were either serving in the military. And so my grandmother did a whole bunch of things in the community for vets. And specifically, my uncle, he served in Desert Storm. And when he came back, he had experienced some issues with his mental health, and ever since then, she did everything until now. She's now um, resting and dealing with her, her age and retiring after, supporting the community and those who were dealing with mental challenges and making sure that they had services. So that kind of, with all that experience, I think what it did for me was realize how to be resourceful, how to look at community, how to educate myself so then I can be a resource to community. And so I guess that's kind of how I found accounting. And because I felt like it was lacking in our community, I felt like it was always something that was stunting our communities, not understanding resources, not simply in the way of just fiscally, but knowing like, hey, if I'm struggling with this, I can reach out to this community over here who maybe it's a food bank and they provide me with assistance for food and for other subsidies. But just learning how to be resourceful, and it's just made me just want to be more involved in that. And so I think that's why I am who I am.
Okay. Okay. Time out. So, a few things you stated. All right. Number one, shout out to grandmothers because grandmothers always have the wisdom. So, I appreciate you articulating on some of the
Yes.
pieces of wisdom that your grandmother has sparked within you that you caught and taught because we all need that in our lives. And I hope that we all take a moment to realize what our grandparents brought to the world, right? For us. The second thing you stated, I never would have thought that your community, the way that you see community, will lead you to accounting. Because not many folks would say that is a bridge that will help them become accountants. Most of us like, yeah, I know numbers, I know spreadsheets, but you saw it as a way from a communal engagement, which is fascinating. So, like, I guess what like now that you are in the accounting industry, like, what are some of the preconceived or misconceptions that you're seeing within the accounting space that we just need to know that hey, like this exists, this is out here from your lens and from your perspective.
I think simply just financial literacy in the sense of like understanding how to just like budget for your everyday life. I think everyone can use that information. We all live in this economy. We all have to deal with capitalism. And if you don't understand your current financial situation, you can't really make any decisions for your family, let alone if you're trying to grow anything. It's just money has always been a challenge in our community.
Yes. Yeah. So
And if we can figure out how to get more people financially literate to be self-sustaining, then we can actually uplift our community. I feel like it's really one of the reasons why we currently are in the place that we are. It makes no sense to me why our dollars only stay in our community for not even a week.
Mm, mm,
We need to make sure that our money is staying in our community so we can actually build up our community and build the institutions that need to exist for us to continue to exist and be self-sufficient. I think with everything going on, it's only wise to do that and to help people really understand where they are and then understanding where we all can come together. Like, for example, one thing that I found very interesting that we don't do in our community is in the Hasidic Jewish community. Let's say there's something that their community feels like they need. They'll say, hey, you know what? We need a grocery store over here. Let's do a communal tax so that everybody in the families that are within this community that are in favor of this, whatever this establishment is that needs to exist for them, that they're putting money in a pocket into this little hub that can then grow into something prosperous for the community. I've seen it work amazingly, because literally the school district that I went to doesn't even exist anymore, simply because of gentrification. Like, one of the elementary schools in my district is now a Ritz-Carlton. Like, to understand, like, yeah, like, it's so crazy. Like, so that's why, like, for me, going back to New York at the end of this month is kind of going to be like, because it's like every time I go back, something's different dramatically. Like, my sister just recently moved back to New York. Her and her husband were able to purchase a home, his family's home there. And it just blows my mind how you can, like, look at a house. It's like literally looks like it's completely abandoned. And then across the street, you have a multi-million-dollar mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And it's horrible. And it displaces us. It directly affects us. And so unless we start to understand our current fiscal reality as a community, we won't be able to actually have control and how we want our community to grow. And that's why I feel like, I mean, we all thinking about money, right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I felt like it was a no-brainer, especially the culture in New York.
I know, like, in my, like, industry, that is a big thing. It's a huge sensitive topic that people do not like discussing. I think there's, like, a lot of shame behind it, or lack of education when it does come to it. And when it comes to the lack of education, especially with such a sensitive topic, means people don't want to talk about it and don't open the doors to learning about it. I mean, I hear it all the time where it's just like, hey, like, you're hearing and thinking about all these myths and what your great uncle Bob told you, what you should do with your money, that you should, like, hide it under your mattress or doing all this other stuff. But I'm like, that's not effective. It does not work. You can't do that anymore. And it has been a thing where it's just like, unfortunately, our community has just been holding on to these myths, unfortunately, when it comes to money. And it really is one of those, like, hey, there's ways to kind of go about it, how to be fiscally, like, responsible and financially responsible. But just unfortunately, we're still kind of going on that loop with each generation. I do think it's improving each time and every, generation that comes, but it's still definitely a weight on our community of it being a major issue of people not wanting to talk about it.
Yeah, that can change. So because you are a person who has experienced multiple cultures, you've experienced even from being on this side of the financial spectrum with knowing about financial literacy and how it affects personal and institutional um, ways of being, like ways of living. Who have been the influences for you that, let's say somebody listened to the Willamette Block Party and being like, all right, I'm trying to get on Jasmine's level of knowledge. Who are the influences that you've been like taking a look at or watch or to like say, hey, take a look at some of these folks to help change your way of thinking so we could probably start moving into that way?
So for me, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Earn Your Leisure podcast, or have you heard about them on Instagram? I feel like that was my entryway of, like, really taking an interest in my expansion and knowledge about anything finances,
Yeah.
and also real estate, because of what they're doing currently right now. I believe it's Ghana. They're right now building a community specifically for our community if we have hopes in relocating or purchasing property or something of the such. But yeah, I would definitely, simply because they're digestible, right? It's like, I was listening to the last podcast, and I remember Sarah saying something along the lines of meeting people where they are
Yeah.
at. And I feel like that podcast does that. It makes information digestible. It makes people think, not necessarily from your individual financial standpoint, but like looking at finances from just like a top down economic perspective. I think sometimes when they start the conversation about finances, when it's immediately directed towards them, they feel maybe a little bit uncomfortable. But when you start from a broader scale and then you're like, oh, that's interesting, they're doing this, then that kind of like dialogue with yourself is kind of like, well, then maybe I can.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes it just takes looking at someone who may look like you talking about something that you may be interested about that brings you in and makes you actually self-inquire.
Oh,
That's good.
absolutely. I feel like you said what Sarah said, which is like having it on a certain level where it's digestible and they don't feel necessarily like that the issues that are fixable are directed straight at them. That it's more so like, okay, like I relate to them on some point. And again, it's more of like helping them with that first step forward than pushing them back and having them feel that they have to be like defensive about whatever their situation is.
I think my work as prior to being an accountant, I was a debt collector. And so that was my entry from like going from a person who's worked mainly in customer service from like my preteen into like my early 20s. It helped me kind of realize like, oh yeah, I need to like switch my degree from psychology to accounting. And then realizing how much those two things come together, psychology and accounting. You can learn a lot about somebody from their financial statements. You can see when their emotions are up and down based off of their spending. You can see what their hobbies are. I just realized like accounting just tells you such a big story. It tells you so much about a person. But being a debt collector though, it really taught me about the psychology of money and how to talk to people about their debt. And when I was realizing that the people I was calling was our people, I'm like, all right, we gotta do something different. We gotta do something different. Guys, like, but those were the people that were able to get to pay. And then it made me realize, like, okay, like maybe I need to be doing this. Maybe I need to be talking to people in my community about money.
Oh, absolutely.
Sarah, oh gosh, I love this girl. She has definitely put me in different spaces where it's kind of challenged me to be more extroverted because I'm very introverted and that's not a resource for anyone else, right? And so she's definitely helped me tap into being more extroverted about this knowledge and about sharing just simple financial hacks that can just get you through. And I just feel like that's how I can be of use to the community. We all in times like these, we all will have our different roles. And I think that's what my role is.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's much needed. I think, especially where we're at economically and everything else that's going on, again, those little bits of information towards like, okay, how you need to save, what you need to save, what you need to be doing kind of with your money, and just again, like approachable ways of doing it, especially right now, is very, very much needed. Again, you're the only accountant that I really know, Jen. I don't know.
Like, honestly, can I be honest? I've been an accountant in Oregon for about 7, 8 years, and I've never worked with another Black person.
It's
Mm.
insane, honestly. Like you were, and I was just like, I was
We
thinking
are
about it.
2% of the
Yeah,
entire, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Why are we not involved in money?
yeah.
A lot of it's like, especially when you think about the hair industry, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why don't we own? Like look,
$1 billion industry, and we own
right?
1%.
Like, we're so quick to dish our money out to other communities, but we really need to learn how to build our own economy so that we
Yeah,
can actually keep it amongst ourselves and build ourselves up. And that's all I want for us.
Ooh, there's a
yeah.
book, Powernomics, that I'm currently reading right now by Dr. Claude Anderson. Learned it from John Hope Bryant. So another podcast, I think he was on Early Leisure at one point, but talked about that book quite often, which has been really great. But there's a lot of content about what does it take to build up infrastructure for us to circulate our dollar longer, have ownership, vertical integration. Nipsey Hussle talked a lot about this, which is like kind of more the modern day person in discussing this, somebody who's like from our generation sharing that information. But I really appreciate all that content that you're bringing forth to the space, and it gets me thinking. Shoot, we might have just put you and Sarah on. Just say, "Yo, give us some financial hacks." Like y'all know some things. Y'all teach us how we can talk about these things or discuss these things. That seems like we'll create a segment on that. But so you made a comment about being here for 8 years. So obviously, welcome to Oregon. You've been in Oregon for a minute, moving from New York, and I know we talked about Florida, now to here. How has some of that being part of the Willamette Valley, like tell us what has some of been the highlights or some of the areas just like here's some areas where I've noticed that our people can grow or do a little bit better. Give us some examples of what you've witnessed so far being in Oregon for the past 8 years.
So I've actually been in Oregon for 10, but the past 8 years I have been in, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I want to say that the highlight is I feel like Oregon has a lot more opportunity than a lot of other spaces I have been in. I feel like the people here on the West Coast are blessed. I feel that there are a lot more resources that are attainable. I feel like the downfall is that's something I have to really think about because I really try not to like focus on the downfall of things. Like I'm really trying to keep myself in a state of mind of just like we're good. I gotta think about that.
We can just a reframe, but like, what do you wish to see, or what are some of the things that you hope to see? We can reframe it in that lens as well.
I would hope to see more entrepreneurs. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs that currently exist in the space, but I would like to see more entrepreneurs getting involved in the Chamber of Commerce and really working with each other. I think it's really important currently, really at this time, for us to look at things from a community perspective on how we can help each other, support each other. Um, yeah, I think really that, and how we can develop better communication amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that I would like to see more. I know it's something that I've had to learn myself because everything here is kind of new to me. And so trying to learn which spaces are okay, which spaces aren't okay, especially when you're a parent, your time is limited. We all have jobs, and so I know sometimes that prevents people from wanting to take time out to do things and go somewhere new. But I really employ people to get innovative, get creative, see how you can work together, see how you can build up on an idea. I feel like community is something that is slowly getting siphoned away from our culture. And just learning how to think about how we can be of service to other people.
Yeah. I think it's like you said, a service to other people. A lot of it has been now of instead of just like really getting into like the volunteer aspect, as a lot of people doing the okay, well, what am I getting like out of this? Like it has to be some type
Right.
of trade off. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is just one of those like, okay, if you want to see change in your community, if you want to see change happening, you do have to make some sacrifices and you do have to kind of get up and spend time doing stuff and volunteering. And, you can be the loudest person in the room, but if your actions don't match it, nothing's going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Just the culture of extracting, of how can I benefit here instead of like, if I plant this seed, how can it grow and how can it feed all of us? I think that just needs to be the mindset of everything in what we do. But yeah, that's trying to be more intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of seeds, you are in the lawn care industry. I'm still
Yes.
I'm still fascinated. Again, how the journey in which that we come to this place and space of being a part of Brooklyn and seeing that community to somehow seeing community and accounting work together, moving yourself or now being ingrained in the Oregon, Willamette Valley space and encouraging entrepreneurship, encouraging building our own and things of that things of that nature. And you're truly living that out. How did you get into the lawn care industry? Like, I got some pictures of my grass. There's some aspect of the grass, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. I might just send your way, but we can talk about that later. How did you get into the lawn care industry? Why that as your entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, so prior to what I'm doing now, so currently I work for the state with DHS, but prior to that, I was a cost accountant, sorry, at Oregon Fruit Products. And Oregon Fruit Products is basically they source most of their product from the Willamette, but also they have exotic fruits from Mexico, Brazil, Asia, wherever have you. So my job there was basically to make the company profitable. My job was to look at the margins for all of our products and all of our different lines. Oregon Fruit would create products such as their aseptic puree, which they would use for fruit, like puree that they would put in beers. They also did like canned fruit. They also did like the strawberry like fruit filling that you would eat at Starbucks. So I'm already in like working with like kind of agriculture here in the Willamette. But then also my husband has been doing lawn care, landscape construction for like 17 years. So I kind of just fell into it that way. Um, when we decided to have our daughter, we kind of just said, "Hey, we're going to open a business." He's been doing it for so long, working for someone else, and unfortunately, the person that he was working for They just relied on him to pretty much do everything, from building the entire thing, designing it, doing all the above. And it's just like, why not have your own business? You have so much experience. And so with us having our daughter and just the rising cost of everything, it just made logical sense to get into the industry. Previous to me working at Oregon Fruit, I have a lot of experience in the construction and manufacturing side of accounting. So for me, I'm still learning about everything outdoor landscaping. But my husband is the mastermind, can tell you anything about outside, can give you the Latin root of a plant, can
Oh,
consult you on how to make anything grow. But me, my job is simply to make it mathematically make sense, reach out to customers, find ways to expand the business. I'm also focusing on project management because, I mean, if you own a business, you need to have adequate project management skills. Luckily, where I was previously, I was working with other managers in different departments on whatever projects the company needed to develop. So I had a very good financial aspect of that, but I'm trying to get more of a wider perspective of project management. But I'm kind of a person, I do a little bit of everything. Like, I feel like you can't, I mean, as a New Yorker, New Yorkers in general have like three jobs. Okay. So, like, it's just the culture of three jobs. So it's just like, yes, I'm a kitchen beautician. I work for the states. I count some money for my husband, is just what we do. More or less, I became an entrepreneur out of survival. And I don't think my story in regards to that is makes me special. I think how I do it makes me special, I guess. But I kind of, the reason why I really want to make people feel more comfortable about financial literacy is because I feel like the way things are going, more people are going to be pushed to be entrepreneurs because simply there may not be opportunities. And when there's not opportunities, you have to learn how to create them. And so I just feel like it's the next stage of evolution.
what I is honestly crazy. I do agree with you fully when it comes to that, where it's like it is getting pushed with AI and other things that are becoming automated, that it is to some degree that a lot of people are having to figure out other things to do and kind of delve into the entrepreneur cycle. What I also didn't know is like to be labeled a landscaper, or like the really correct title for it, really like the licenses, the degrees, the hours, and the time and money that's spent into it. Like you basically have to have like a contractor's license, you have to do all these hours of like education. I had no idea what really went into it when it came to like that kind of business, what it requires. Like you can't just put I'm a landscape. Like you can't just claim that title.
I cut grass. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Especially when you, right, especially when you start building things, when you're building structures. Like, yeah. And I think where we kind of did things a little bit differently is a lot of people, when they run into this line of business, they run for a CCB.
Hmm.
But we went and got an LCB first, which made, I feel like we were trying to go for being nichey.
Like,
Explain those.
yeah.
Explain those. Now you just threw out letters A B C 1 2 3. What those
Yeah,
mean?
my Eminem my
So basically, an LCB is basically the type of licensure that you need to have in order for you to be doing certain things like irrigation, water features, synthetic lawn, paper patios. But with having a CCB, the reason why that is important is because of the fact that it does not allow you to be in the room in regards to government contracts. So, like, I can work residential and commercial, but because I don't have a CCB, I can't get into government contracts. So that's something right now that I'm trying to have, because even though the CCB it's pretty much like the testing seems to be like very generalized, business practices and such of having such a license. Whereas an LCB is very specific to what you're doing. Like you'll have a test on backflow, you have a test on fencing, you have a test on decks, you have like it was like a 7-step kind of ordeal just to have the LCB. And so I'm kind of happy we did it that way, because now we're going for the CCB and it's like, oh, this is going to be a joke. We just need to go and just buy the thing and do the thing. But yeah, that's what you were talking about. And then having surety bonds and having necessary licensure so that if something happens, you're not like financially down, So you want to make sure. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I literally did kind of like a little Google search, and I was like, okay, like just what do you have to do to become one. And it was like all this stuff came up and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, to be a realtor literally is you just do the hours and take a test. That's it.
I sell houses.
And I think that's what kind of put Keith in the head of the game because of the fact that he's been doing it for so long, right? He's
Yeah.
been doing it for so long, has accrued all the hours. So now it's just like, okay, I've already have the experience. Now I've just got to pass the test.
Nice.
So for me, I'm just like, I feel like in this business, I'm definitely learning. We're both learning. He's learning more or less like what it takes to actually run a business, what the accounting is, what we need to like, financially need to do to break even, to pay the bills, to whatever
Yes.
have you. Because I understand that is a real struggle for contractors. And I think that's what makes us strong is because of the fact that I'm very financially knowledgeable on what we need to do in order for us to be successful. Where I have a lot of friends who are like, I don't know what I'm doing because I'm just trying to get this client. Like, and sometimes it's like, yes, you want to secure the client, but it's like, at what detriment? Like, are you going to now make yourself liable for materials and all these extraneous third party fees just because you want somebody to pay your labor and so you can have this job under your belt? Or do you want to make sure you're doing it correctly? You don't have to worry about the Oregon contractors board coming after you for not providing somebody with a contract, doing things inadequately, not following OSHA, whatever have you.
Yeah. It's a whole different world when it's just like, okay, owning a business and being an entrepreneur, you might be good at the task of like the marketing aspect of like, okay, hey, I'm good at what we're supposed to do, but it's a whole other job and a whole other world behind the scenes when it comes to making sure you're licensed, making sure you're insured, making sure you're hitting all the requirements. Like, okay, how much am I spending towards marketing? How much should I be spending? And all of this other stuff and the decisions you're having to make. It's a job on top of a job on top of a job to
Mm-hmm.
be an entrepreneur. And not everyone is great at that. I know for me, it was definitely a learning curve of I'm not just clocking in and clocking out. Like I'm not just coming in here doing what I need to do and everything else is for someone else to do. It's like, no, that's on me. And it was a very hard adjustment of being like, oh, like if I don't do that, I get in trouble. Like I do, not someone else. I can't just throw that to someone else. But it definitely is. And I think that is a make or break for a lot of entrepreneurs now is all the additional stuff that's required with it.
Yeah, I agree.
What intrigues me about that, and something I hear a little bit too from Jasmine of your story, is that you have a skill set and a strength, and you're in union with somebody who also has a skill set and strength to then produce something that is of quality and value for the community through a business, right? And what I will hope that, and just as we started talking to this conversation before, there's a few things that we want to keep in mind is that yes, we all should own something, but we all don't have to do all the things to own something. So, how do we understand what the pieces are that would allow us to put forth this effort in entrepreneurship or in business, but recognize, all right, if my skill set is here, I need to know these other factors, but who else is gifted or talented that we can partner and collaborate with to help us produce this activity? But that all the, maybe it is, yeah, I got to take the test because I know that's on me to do. But now that I've taken the test, okay, what else can I maybe help design or help develop or find somebody else who has that skill set and strength to execute maybe that task so this business can still run and function. And I hope that doesn't scare people away from entrepreneurship because that I do see that as a big deter from being an entrepreneur. It's like, man, I can't clock in because this is 24/7. Okay. But how do you do it in a community, right? How do you do it collectively? So that I appreciate that perspective being brought into this space. And you living that out because we need more of those types of voices for people to think and see too in this space. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Ali, I feel like you have some fun questions. Don't you have any fun questions? I feel like you always got a fun question.
Just going through it right now. I'm just gonna get back into the hair topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, in our last interview with Sarah, she gave a huge shout out to you for multiple things. But you kind of like introduced her to like her lock journey and everything, and I kind of wanted to kind of delve into that. And like you have gorgeous hair and I'm so jealous and I wish I just feel like I couldn't pull off lock.
You could.
I wish. I go back and forth, but I'm like, tell us, like, I want to delve into like kind of your hair journey and like, especially with like, again, how you were raised and like the two different kind of communities you were going back and forth. Did you have any like trials or tribulations or anything that you kind of went through while, you know, getting, accustomed and, finding out kind of what works for you?
Yeah, so my hair journey has
Yeah,
always been
look.
a struggle. I guess that's the best thing I could say. It's always been a struggle. I am a 4C girly, so my hair is
Hmm.
extremely, extremely kinky. And so, my mom had really beautiful hair, like long, silky hair, and me and my sister just did not have that. And so, I want to say all the way up until the age of like 12, my mom, it was just like, it was the hot comb, it was the washing, it was the conditioner. For me to just wind up with ASAP Rocky braids, you know? We didn't even get far. Like, we didn't even. So, half the time growing up, like, I just looked like it was a struggle. I was horribly mocked for my hair growing up, like, horribly. Um, and so, with me growing up, like the only time that I would be around, like my grandfather was the one in my family who was Hasidic Jewish,
Hmm.
and so whenever I would have to go to him with him to synagogue, I would always have to cover my hair because it was just never appropriate in the eyes of anyone. So when I was about 11, 12, I was like, "Hey, mom, can we like stop doing this like hot comb burning my edges off? Like, can we just like do like I've been seeing like I go to the, like I see the place that we go and I see people get dreads, but I always get the hot comb and hot press and then it lasts a week. Can we do that? Like do the dreads?" And my mom was like at first like, "I don't know if you can take care of them," and I wanted sister locks, and that's what I originally got when I got dreads because then it would allow me to like do other things with my hair that would be deemed appropriate, and also because I was like, "Mom, when I'm 18, I want to get like I wanted to get like a full head front lace like weave situation," which I did because it was something that all the girls were getting. This is like during the time of like the Rihanna bob, I wanted the silky smooth, but my mom could allow me to do it, and my hair was like my dreads were literally like here when I first got them, so like I was always like getting box braids on top of my micros, and by the time I was like 18, 19, that's when I was like, okay, we're going to fully commit to the dread things and we're going to combine my dreads because I don't want to be here for 8 years getting
Yeah.
my hair twisted up. And I found my hair always as a black woman is always to be difficult, always, because of the fact that, ironically enough, when I was like a teenager, like 19, working at Burger King, my boss had a problem with my dreadlocks. And she was a woman from Zimbabwe.
Hmm.
Like, it was literally against company policy for me to have locks working there. And you would think like you're in New York, like this is Burger King, like But even like, and I'm working in an environment where everybody here is black, so I'm just like, how are we not allowed to wear like our hairstyle here? And like, I don't understand. And I think that was like my first real world experience, like outside of like my immediate community, where I was like, okay, my hair is a problem for other people. But I learned at a like I feel like it's always been a journey of mine to just like learn that like you can't live your life seeking the validation of other people.
Hmm.
And so I feel like that's what dreadlocks for me is me simply embracing my hair as it shows up in its texture and not seeking the validation of other people.
Yeah.
I feel like some black women, I'm not gonna say all black women, have experienced whether either it was them going to school, whether it was a partner, whether it was them just showing up in the world, wherever have you, there being an issue of why aren't you wearing your hair this way?
Hmm.
And so I feel like it's the only place that I can be radical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is my hair. And so when I moved here, there was no one that did dreads or locks, whatever you prefer. I'm not super picky on the language, but I respect however someone would like me to say it. I do not want to offend anyone, but um, a lot of people were just like, "Hey, I like your hair. Like, where do you get it done?" I'm like, "I do it myself." And I simply saw it as a way to see community because there was no one that was providing a service that I felt like it was just needed for us. And it was a great way to meet people, like, that I knew that would be relatively like minded. And so,
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially here. Again, it's needed here. I mean, now I've seen like, businesses kind of open up that are specifically, for us curly, coily, kinky haired, sisters. But it's just like, it really doesn't, there's not that many places here. And my thing was, I came to Salem. I didn't want to drive all the way up to Portland. I didn't want to drive all the way down to Eugene or to find some other place to do it. And it is very much a special time when doing hair. There's a reason why you kind of spend the entire day washing it, dealing with it, handling it. You have a whole day specifically to deal with your hair. But no, I love that you did. I love that you were able to connect with Sarah with that. And I mean, obviously have that time. And it's a very sacred time. I mean, you open up your while someone's doing your hair and you're connecting in that way. There's certain emotions and certain things I feel like that happens when someone's in your hair and handling it. So I love that you do that.
Yeah, and it's just like, especially like the way that I like to curate the space. I want the space to be like, first off, like I personally prefer getting my hair done with just a person who's doing my hair.
Mhm.
We've all had the experience or maybe even the embarrassment of whatever our hair may show up as.
Mhm.
And being able to go into a space where I'm like, I don't have to worry about these other three women in here judging how my hair is or how I'm showing up. And like you come in, I make you a cappuccino. Like sometimes I even cook for you, like depending on like what you want. But like having it be a space, yeah. Or like I'm very. It's a very free space. It's a free space. It's a space to, if you want to just sit on the deck, look out at the garden, look at the view. Like if you need to just take whatever it is, you want to watch a movie, you want to put on music, like you want to fry some chicken, like whatever.
There we go. Right. You gotta get some locks out.
Might be time. It might be time just for all that you expressed.
Yeah, I was like talking to Sarah because I'm like, I'm just so used to my grandmother she grew up in Harlem, a couple blocks away from the Apollo. And her house was always like every Sunday, the neighbors are coming over. There's potato salad, there's fried chicken, there's collard greens, there's yams, mac and cheese. There's just like her house was a third space. And I
Mhm.
miss that. I miss house parties. I'm like, Sarah, we need to open that juke joint.
Look,
Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like times, you know what I mean? We need a space where we can just like fry some fish, drink something, watch, like, maybe we got somebody watching the babies in the back because, childcare is whatever expensive, but just a place where Black people as a whole can come together and do whatever it means to us to be spiritual together. And there's something about just people and community coming together, despite whatever your faith may be, just coming together with just the intent of sharing love, community, understanding, support, empathy in the same place that is a hallowed ground. And that place needs to exist.
absolutely. And I think it is. It's like we're slowly building one here in Salem. I think it's slowly coming together. And I know a topic that we kind of touched on with Sarah was, people in our community not feeling so, valued or like really connected with the rest of the Black community because it used to be church. Like it used to be like that's where everybody congregated. That's where, it was happening. And now it's, getting to a point in the world where it is just like, hey, that might not be the place. Like we have another place that it is where it's just like, okay, no matter what, regardless of this is a place where we can come and join. And I think we're slowly finding it in Salem.
I
Slowly.
agree.
That is
I do find
happening.
that it is people who see the need for the third space and also creating the need for that third space in their own way. So I appreciate, Jasmine, that
Hmm.
you are, you realize there's a need and you're filling it by creating the space and making it whatever it needs to be for the people who are trying to get their hair done. You know what I'm saying? And like another person I was talking to was sharing how it'd be kind of nice that like just invite some folks and just laugh, or invite some people over and just do. I had a game night with a buddy of mine, and it was like we just laughed the whole time, and it was cool because both of the same kind of fellowship in space, but we knew each other. We just were being, and it was sacred ground for us in that way. And so, whether it is something that's institutional, corporate, or just individualized within your own space, the need for that is important for our own body and soul. And I just appreciate that as you're seeking that out. And Ali, as you also stated too, like that is slowly being formed in Salem, and of surrounding areas. And what we hope is just that encourages. So whether you do let us know or you just do it, but just the fact that you're doing it, because that's going to be beneficial for you to be here, to thrive here, to belong here, to have people that you're connected with as well. But yeah, yeah, the lock journey, I might, just because of what you just articulated of how you create in your space. We'll talk. We'll talk. We'll see. I want to look out the balcony too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's
You can
funny.
always, I mean, whenever you are ready.
I know. I
Even
think
if you
that
just want to come over, like I just have a house, but the space that I create in my house is just like you just want to come over, girl. Just tea, do whatever. Like,
we got the invite. We got the invite. We're
yes,
there.
just come.
Next, you're not invited. Maybe next time. That would be perfect. Because honestly, again, that's the whole reason, like, again, why Ray started the block party, or the Willamette block party, was to get us together and to have this like congregation and to like to talk and to like kiki. And it's just, that's the whole reason, is to find each other and know that, hey, we have community. So first one's at Jasmine's house.
And that's why I'm just like, I need to get a bigger property so I can have more cars parked. Like,
And guess who could help you with that?
please, actually, we need to talk because, yeah, I have plans. I need like a nursery. I need some land.
I
I
got
need a
you.
warehouse. I need a shop. We got to talk, girl. Yeah.
How that worked out. Look how that worked out.
Ray can get his locks. Jasmine
Right?
can get her property. I can get my sister locks. Look, we've got it.
We're done. We don't need we can stop now. We've already got what we wanted out of the podcast. All right.
I love it. But no, I know, like, okay, I was going back to really the first time that I connected with you. And it was last year when you reached out. It was for the New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
I just remember when you reached out, I was like, who is this? And why haven't I seen her before?
Yeah, I'm kind of like I feel like I only come outside and like I feel like I have my waves of time. So like I feel like ever since I've had my daughter, I'm probably out Thursdays and Fridays because those are the days that I go into the office. But like ever since I've been a mom, I've just been very in home life,
Yeah.
and I feel like the only time I really go out is if I have like we plan something, or I'm going to work, or I'm going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And so that's why for me, like going to the Be Black Foundation has been a huge thing for me.
Mhm.
So huge for me. Because it's another way for me to get outside and know that I am engaging with my people. It was something that I've just been struggling with. Like as you were saying, like, when you see it when you first moved here and like you were like, a person.
Yeah.
That was me. Like living in Yamhill County, it was like maybe it'd be 2 or 3 months before I saw somebody that looked like me. And so that's specifically the reason why I moved down to Polk County, was because of the fact that I knew community was here. And so I was like, these people don't know me, but we're going to be friends and it's going
Yeah.
to be okay.
It really is a thing. I don't know what it is. There has to be something behind it. It's just that like withdrawal, or that feeling that you get where it's just like, okay, no one here looks like me. Like no one. And I think it, like, initially, like, you sense it and then you kind of get used to it. But then when you see someone who does look like you, it is that shock of like, oh my gosh, hi.
But how are you making it?
Yeah. It's like, I can talk to you and I can say kind of everything. And it's like, you're throwing all these emotions at this person, this stranger, but it's just like, I know you're going to understand everything. I know you're going to understand completely how I feel on all these terms. That's honestly what I did to that lady. And I felt so bad after, but I was just like, I know you're going to get it. I was like, are you okay? I'm okay. I think I'm making it. I think I'm okay.
Yeah,
It's true
that's the
though.
experience for sure.
Yeah. Well, again, I was so glad whenever you reached out. I was just like, I don't know how I haven't seen her before, but that's probably why. It's just because you're not about that.
Yeah, like it literally, the reason why I thank Sarah for everything is because Sarah, I feel like, on a deeper level, Sarah, I feel like gave me my social life back in a way. I feel like, after I had my daughter, I was really struggling with postpartum depression and wanting to get out. And I've always been like an introverted, extroverted person. Like I can totally like, do the thing when I'm, present for it. But like when I'm already in my bubble, it's hard for me to want to get out.
Yeah.
And she was definitely a gateway in that way. I'm like, I want to be extroverted, but I don't know where to be extroverted because I'm like, I feel like I've, been in situations where I was extroverted and I wasn't in the right space to be extroverted and I wound up just being drained from it. And so I really appreciate her because she is definitely a connector. And she told me about you. And when she told me about you, that's how I found you and was like, oh, let me promote this person.
Yeah.
I am all about Black people supporting each other, 100%. I don't need to know you. Like,
Right.
you doing a good thing? Cool. Here's some money. Keep doing it. Like, like that's all it needs to be. That's what we need to keep the energy up for. It's just
Yeah,
that.
it really is. You are amazing. You do great things. And so, how old is your daughter?
She is 19 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She's
Little
so small.
one.
So
Oh my
little.
God. Ray's is like, I'm done with
He knows, he understands.
Oh, I'm well aware.
You know, you're tired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you're tired.
tired. I yawned so many times today, and they're like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry about it. We fine. No, I'm
Yeah.
not. I need a nap. I need a nap."
I look, parents, you guys do a lot. I don't have any children, but I still take a nap during the day.
Oh, I miss those.
What?
Oh gosh, you don't understand. Those were, people talk about going out when they were, single or not married or didn't have children. It was asleep. It was asleep. Always asleep. Always asleep.
I really don't know how you guys do it all. Like, it's honestly, I'm like, you guys are raising people, and I'm like, that sounds exhausting.
I feel like as a woman who, to be very transparent, I never thought I was going to be a mom because I
Mhm.
honestly never thought I would be with someone who would even be like, hey, yeah, let's do it. And now that I am in this place, because I really thought I was going to be like 60, a cat, maybe in Wales. I don't know, doing whatever. But now that I'm here, I'm a parent. She is the biggest motivator.
Yeah.
I feel like she's made me such a better person simply by her existence because I look at her and I'm like, I can't suck. I just can't. Like, literally looking at you, like, I feel guilty for everything. So she motivates me to just want to change the world and do all the things. And I can never really understand, not to the judgment of others, but I cannot understand being a parent and not wanting to do everything for them in the sense of like trying to make the world a better place for them to exist in.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the way, oh, I gotta help you do everything, but like in the sense of, I want to walk you into a place that you can be safe, you
Mm.
know, where you can find out who you are safely, where you can live however you want to safely. Just have a good space, a healthy space. I don't know. I feel like with me having my child, it just really made me notice my individual welfare and the welfare of others. And it really made me become communal. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like she turned on a communal button and I'm like, here we go, community. And I'm so thankful for her. Like I can't imagine a life without my daughter, to be honest.
Oh, that's amazing.
That
Oh.
is
All
beautiful.
right, Ray, say something nice about your kids.
They wild. These kids are wild. All right. I love them. They're great, and they wild. All right. But yes, the switch did get flipped or turned up more so of, okay, I'm doing this for them, or this is what I want to set up for them, this world, this house, this space, whatever it may be. While the reason was already there, it just put a name and a face to it. So I really completely get that. And also, again, back to like the entrepreneurial side, parenting in community is great. So, because there are other people who have experience, who've done this before, or who are in the same boat as you, and y'all can just share all your miseries and share all your laughs and joys and share toys and clothes with these folks, right? And they all are in the same boat. So I have also appreciated just the pockets of community that has grown by nature of these children being in our lives and the new adventures. So as your child continues to grow, there are a bunch of new things that our kids are getting into that I'm like, I did not know I was going to be playing chess every day, but here we are. Or I didn't know we were going to do cross country, but here we are, right? For them getting engaged with what we're doing. So my kids want to make a podcast. So I was like, great, let's just set you up to do that. So all those different things have been really great. I do want to be mindful as we close. You said tremendous amount of wisdom in the fact of how community has been created for you, as community has shown up in your space, just even how you show up in the power that you have in your identity and want other people to experience in their own identity to show up and be themselves. If you were to give our listeners one piece of advice or a message that they need to hear from Jasmine Kelly-Field today, what would that be?
I would say don't stop.
Mm.
Whatever you want to do, whatever you think you can bring to the table to make the world a better place, do it. I feel like we have now walked into this weird place where everyone's standing still and so afraid to do things. Don't. Don't let fear prevent you from seeing a possibility in a way that you can exist or those around you. I want people to feel confident in their ability to exist and be courageous communicators and say, hey, like, this is right, this is wrong, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to move forward. And stop waiting for other people to actually present the ideas in your mind and you be that person. Just that. Be a leader.
There we go.
Love
Get
it.
it. All right,
Is that
Jasmine.
what we're doing? That's what we're doing. I don't know what we're doing. Anyway,
We need to just use this little emoji thing and just like
Right.
well, that is true, Jasmine. If you're
That'd be
ever
great.
in a group chat or a chat with Xavier, xinyourface.com, Hudson, he has his own picture that he uses for excitement of highlighting something that he
his
reads. His response is great. It's a picture of him, and it's just like he's doing this, and he's smiling. And it's like, that's a good picture.
I love that for him.
my God.
Oh, he's so charismatic.
He's so
He's
I really appreciate his charisma. It's very uplifting.
yes, it is.
well, we missed him in this episode, but thank you, Jasmine, so much for hanging with us. We'll still have to do another one. We get you in person and we have X on too. He always has like some great questions and great insights to have kind of when when we're talking with everyone. Oh, we should do like a group one where we have like Jasmine and Sarah and like Julie Ray. We still got to get her on here too.
Yes, he's awesome.
Eventually we'll have it. But thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, it was fun.
All right, y'all.
All
Thank
right,
you
well
so
that
much
is
for
it
being part of
again.
the show.
Thank you.
You close us out, Allie. Allie, close us out. Allie, close us out.
Go ahead. This is gonna be in it anyway. Look, Jasmine, he sent me a text and he said close us out. Said close us. You sent me the text.
I did.
Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, okay. I'm on mute. I'm going on mute. You got it. Allie, it's all yours.
For our third episode, again, thank you to our guest, Jasmine Kelly-Field, for joining us. We'll link all of her information below. Ray, you're here too. We miss you, X, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Willamette Block Party. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Peace.